broadcast network, AFTERBUZZ TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads in over 150 countries, and your number one source for after-show entertainment. AFTERBUZZ TV, the destination for TV superfans, producing after shows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows, interviewing celebrities and showrunners, and bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
Yeah, what if God was one of us? Woo. Just a slob like one of us.
Oh yeah.
He's a what of what? Just a stranger on the bus, trying to make his way home.
I love it, Christy.
We did it up. I don't know if you guys were expecting all that, but we did it.
But you should. A little Joan Osborne action in honor of Tamra, really. It was really bringing us close to, her faith in tonight's episode.
That one was for you, Eddie.
That's right. Just for you, Eddie. Welcome, everyone, to another episode of AfterBuzz TV's Real Housewives of Orange County. Happy Labor Day to all of our live watchers, of course. And Christy and I are here holding down the fort tonight.
Yeah.
We're missing a few of our panel members this week.
Forget a vacay. We feel better at work.
That's right.
Right here, people.
That's right. We're laboring away at ABTV
if you
tonight.
Can call watching television and breaking down Real Housewives work, which we are lucky enough to do so.
We love it here so much.
Happy Labor Day to
We're
us.
here for you. Exactly. I like it. Absolutely. So tonight's episode was action-packed indeed, to say the least.
A storm is coming.
Yes, truly. I mean, this was exciting. We are very excited to get to it. You can find us in all of our recap shows, of course, on YouTube at youtube.com/AfterBuzzTV, and check in via SoundCloud and iTunes as well for all of your podcasting needs. And while you're there, be sure to give us some thumbs up and 5 stars and all that stuff we like. We also love it when you interact with us, so don't be shy. Comment below, tweet us, anything you need to do to get in touch. That's how we like to keep it.
We want to know what you guys think too.
We want to know what you think.
Us.
Absolutely. I'm your host, Blake V. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Blake V Media. And I'm here with my lovely co-host, Christy. Tell them where they can find you.
Well, thank you. Just to clarify, it's mostly about us, but it's not all about us. And if you do want to
Really?
tweet me about the show, it's a little bit about us. You can all hit me up at Christy Reports. I do love to hear from you.
Absolutely. Okay, so let's get into it, lady. Tonight was a juicy one, to say the least. Yeah. So we opened to the episode, of course, kind of having a dual convo between Shannon and Heather regarding the Vicki Meghan blow up at the sex party that had recently happened via Tamra. And then, of course, we kind of were bouncing back to the conversation between Meghan and Jim, which kind of, everybody got off starting talking about Vicki and kind of their reaction to the whole Vicki scenario. Of course, Meghan and Jim were kind of settling their own argument between the two of them, kind of figuring out, how it all ended up, because we sort of saw an issue between Meghan and Jim, and then they had to settle it in the car, and it was sort of some aftermath. So they kind of got that, out of the way. But it was interesting kind of seeing Heather and Shannon's conversation. Yes, and so for one, right off the bat, we got to see that they are getting along this season.
Unexpected lunch buddies.
Completely. Right? Absolutely. And we saw their sort of little previous season montage of really some blow-ups.
Yeah,
to say the least.
I forgot how crazy Shannon was last season, right?
I completely forgot, especially between her and Heather. For some reason, I was like, I don't know.
It was
just
over
didn't
a
remember
chair.
it. I know.
It was over a chair.
Yes. So I'm thankful that they brought back that montage and put it right in the forefront of our minds there, right? But of course, they touched on Vicki's situation, and which is like the ever-present drama. It's the ever-present drama of what's going on with Vicki, what's going on with Brooks, what is happening here. Then, of course, we kind of shoot back to Meghan, and she mentions to us that she had a lump. She found a lump in her underarm, and that she's really had a long family history of breast cancer.
a very sordid history with
Yes.
many of her family members, and she is rightfully concerned about this. And actually, I was once hearing about her family history. I was grateful to hear that she's very diligent about it, and I think sometimes that makes somebody more diligent. And of course, with what she's dealing with at this time with Leanne, it is something that is on the brain in the family for sure.
Oh, completely. And I think that actually sort of gives more, kind of importance to the fact that she's so on Brooks. It's like not only is she really, using Leanne as sort of the reason behind it all, but now we're coming to find that she really has her own personal family history. She talked about, I believe, a couple aunts that dealt with it. And most importantly, her mother had sort of a preemptive double mastectomy to deal with this situation, which is really a very gnarly scenario.
And before it was trendy to do so, as
Completely.
Meghan points out.
Yes, exactly. I think she said 10 years before the Angelina Jolie, she called it the Angelina Jolie surgery.
Right.
Right? Because of course she, made it famous. But
Well, that's significant because, I think it's something that it's getting rid of all breast tissue, yes?
Yes.
Correct? So it's something that I think sounds sort of outlandish to people or sounds like a very outrageous step to take. So going off that comment, it's that Angelina Jolie kind of made it more mainstream as like, yes, this is a very important preventative measure that people can do.
Completely. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. And, really, I mean, I think if anything, it probably took away some of the stigma from having that sort of procedure.
Exactly.
I mean, there's pros and cons to it, and there's, people who are for it and against it. But was certainly interesting to find out that Meghan's mother was one of those that had that surgery.
Yeah.
And finding that her family was so prone to the cancer gene. She talked about having I believe it's the BRCA cancer gene test. I think they abbreviate it to BRCA or something like that.
Yeah.
But anyways, she had that test done, and she called her mother to tell her mother about it. And I thought her mother had a very interesting response. Everybody chime in and let us know what you thought about the conversation. I sort of thought that the mother, kind of being a proponent of this sort of preemptive, like surgery and research and sort of everything, would be happy that Meghan had taken that extra step to really make sure, things were good with her health. And she really wasn't.
No, I expected her also to be sort of praise Meghan and to express relief. Like, oh, well, I'm glad that you're taking every measure that you can. And I think even while watching the conversation, her mother said, don't get tested until you're ready to do something about it. And I thought, oh my gosh, that's terrible. Don't get tested just because, is she implying that just because, you don't want to know and you're not ready to do anything about it? And after thinking about it for a while, I realized that she meant you're tested now, so you'll know if you have this gene or not, and you will be forced to make the decision whether you want to get the same surgery that her mother has already had.
Yeah.
So once I realized that she was sort of speaking from a different place where she has gone through all of that and learned about it and took the preemptive measure without ever getting that diagnosis, maybe that's why it's hard for me to understand the point that she took on
Completely. And I mean, I feel like any journey deciding to do that any journey for a woman deciding to do that with your own body is got to be just the craziest decision that you could ever make. And number one, going through it alone, kind of maybe you're the first in your family to deal with this and kind of have this option and figure out for yourself if it's something that you want to do. But having someone in your family already going through this procedure, that's probably like a whole nother level of decision making, So it really is a lot of interesting stuff there. It's very interesting. We got a very interesting sneak peek into Meghan's life there.
Well, yeah, and her mother may have been hesitant too. She made the point that will tell you if you've got the certain gene.
Correct.
It certainly is not a predictor of if you will get cancer
Exactly.
of any kind at any point in your life.
Exactly.
And could maybe end up offering more of a false sense of security than anything, or a false sense of being healthy. So I guess after I thought about it too, I thought, well, that was a good point from Mom too. She doesn't want Meghan to get too comfortable.
Right. Not rush into any decisions.
Right.
Which is fair.
Or not sit back and go, oh, I don't have the gene, I'm good, forget testing.
Right.
Absolutely.
Because we should all be aware. There we have it. Our PSA for the week.
You've been told.
There you have it. So now kind of in that same health conscious vein, we got a sneak peek, I think, into Heather's new skincare line. Very exciting, right? So we got to see that she and Terry had been spending a lot of time on this brand new skincare line.
And money.
Oh, so much money. Oh my gosh, Terry dropped the number. Did we all hear it? They invested $1 million into this brand new skincare company. I believe the name is Consult Beauté.
Of course. Actually, I'm surprised that it doesn't sound more French.
I know, right? I'm sure it was.
Colette Beauté.
Exactly.
Or that they had
Champenoise Beauté.
Right. Or name one of your other ventures after one of your other children.
Right, so
since
they're
they
not so
already did
left
the
out.
line. Yeah.
Completely, right? But for whatever reason,
not Max Beauté. I don't know.
I know, right? For whatever reason, they went with Consult Beauté. It's very fancy, very fabulous, a la Shannon. I'm sorry, a la Heather. But yes, we got to see kind of the new packaging, and they had sort of a little marketing meeting going on, and that was really interesting. I think they're gearing up for HSN. What do you think?
Yes, for sure.
Little HSN or QVC action on this new
and
new
the
line.
Housewives, the Real Housewives and other reality stars have been extremely successful and very profitable on home shopping networks and with their own thing. And I think Heather will benefit from the fact that a lot of those, Nene and Juliana Rancic, a lot of those girls have really fantastic clothing lines. So with Heather, I shouldn't say that. There's a lot of beauty products out there too. When Meghan Edmonds was here visiting us, she showed us her sweat cosmetics. So this is a common thing that the Housewives are doing, but you just know it's one of those things that Heather can do better than everyone else.
I know, and the thing
I know that Meghan's product is very good too, but I just mean in general, marketing and having her hubby put in the $1 million,
the funding,
and he's behind
the investing.
It. Yeah, like she could go bigger with this than Nene does with her clothing. And
true.
she sells a lot of those T-shirts.
She does.
You know what I'm saying? Like, this is going to be good stuff.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing. Precisely. And that's exactly the thing. The asset that she has on her side is Terry. I mean, she even mentioned that he's a scientist in this whole process. And if she disagrees with him on anything, she has to have some really solid evidence as to why it is she's disagreeing with him. And you've got to know that, in her case, I'm sure that's frustrating when you're disagreeing with your husband and he's got the scientific facts behind it. You're like, okay, I just disagree, all right? But the bottom line is for the consumers, I'm sure it works. Like you have, a fantastic doctor behind the scenes, I'm sure, working on the formulas and making sure that everything is legitimate and functions properly. And I feel like it's,
we can be sure that this is a legitimate product. Now, I'm thinking of specifically right now, I don't want to, she's a fantastic woman who always stops and talks to me on the red carpet. Please don't stop doing that. But Gretchen Rossi has a makeup line that by all rights and purposes is just kind of a run-of-the-mill factory line that she's able to put her logo on, and you could get it a lot of places.
Right.
And I'm sure she feels that it's a quality thing that she's put herself behind, and a lot of people buy it. But it's not something that she spent hours in the laboratory and months trying different serums and different formulas. And
yes, like a medical approach to it.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like this is not something that they're just slapping their names on that someone else created. This is something that they want to put out in the market. And
definitely.
With Heather's face on it. And Terry's, we can't forget about him and his botch fame.
Completely.
People know him about looking good. So
yeah, I mean, they're quite a team.
Huge.
It's like with Heather's face and Terry's like science, and medical know-how. It's like a winning combo.
No wonder those two stick together.
I
it would just
know,
be a
right?
bad business deal not to.
Right? Completely. I love them together though. I think they're super lovely. I'm a fan of their combo.
We had like another factor to this. We saw Tamra and Eddie not be able to stick it out working together in their own business. But I'm thinking with Heather and Terry, it's just another thing that they can kind of thrive together.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's no question they love the spotlight. So any other, thing to put out on the marketplace to give them a spotlight and to make money from, they're there. Count them in. So I do think it was adorable, though, that Heather pointed out that it was a reason for them to spend time together. Because Terry is so busy. I mean, we see his crazy schedule. She complains all the time he's never around.
Oh, yeah.
And the fact that this is a really good reason for them to spend some quality time together, I think is great. It's like two birds with one stone. Let's spend some time together and make a huge fortune afterwards.
Right.
I love it. I love it so much. She must be so thrilled about this. So thrilled she wants to dance. Oh. Speaking of dancing, yay! Does everyone remember the dance battle casting we were telling you about a few months ago? Yes. Well, it all started with Maria Menounos and Derek and Julianne Howe, their family dance battle 2 years ago on Instagram, and now it's America's chance to dance. Exciting, right?
You got your chance.
You got your chance. It's here. So 8 families have been chosen to come out to LA and battle. How cool is that? Family battles?
So much fun.
So interesting. Make sure you check it out. It's going to be huge. You are not going to want to miss it. So set your DVRs now. The show is called Dance Battle America, and it airs on ABC Monday, September 14th, right after Dancing with the Stars at 10 p.m. So don't miss out. Be there for Dance Battle America.
All right.
We're super pumped now, right? So exciting. Always love a good dancing show. I feel super defeated after, but I love watching it, you know? Like, imagine if you were at a party with these incredible dancers, you wouldn't even want to dance. I would just sit there and
watch.
I'd say, go right ahead. I'll view. I'll be a spectator.
We wouldn't be voting for Blake V.
No. Not anytime soon. That's okay with me.
It's all right. You got other talents, girl.
There we go. Trying to. Yes. So, sort of speaking of Tamra and Eddie's kind of issue when it came to working together, they had to kind of separate their working relationship. We've come to another issue that may separate other things in their relationship. We saw them meet at dinner for a rather important conversation tonight. This has been brewing a few episodes, I want to say, where Tamra has decided now to financially help her son Ryan, her oldest son Ryan. He had moved away to Northern California to get married, and he had a baby with his now wife. And now Tamra wants to move them back down.
They're not married yet, remember? They were looking at
It's
Vicki's
almost
house last
wife.
week.
That's right. That's right.
Just engaged.
The wedding is coming. I'm already there. I'm like, I saw Vicki's house. We'll just call it done, right?
Well, yeah, we've been doing this
You
Ryan
know?
and Sarah thing for so long.
Right. It's like, I'm just like, oh, of course they're married. In any case, Tamra wants to move them back down to Orange County, which, I think we sort of saw, I believe it was last episode, where Tamra did this. She decided to kind of donate to the cause the down payment of the house. Which,
That's how she should have put it.
right?
Just donating to the cause.
A donation to the cause. Absolutely. And, Orange County is very pricey. And that's something she mentioned to Ryan and just said, the cost of living is going to be a whole different idea of what you're used to living in Northern California. But she made the decision without Eddie. Ugh, and we were all like painful for her last week because it's like, yes, it's your son. And we feel, we understand your need to wanna help, of course, but you're married and you have to have that honesty in your marriage. So tonight was the night she let that honesty flow.
Well, I did think it was kind of fun as a viewer, like being in on it, like she told us before she told Eddie.
Right?
So I was kind of having fun with that aspect of it.
Like we were her real life girlfriends.
Right? Yeah.
And we're like, we know that.
Like we can be like, oh, we told her last week. That
we
she needs
told
to tell
her.
him. Right?
I love it. Tamra always brings us in like that, Makes us feel like we're close to her. I love it.
Well, and as we talked it out last week, and we kind of agreed, like, of course she doesn't want him and this new, now she's a grandma. I mean, just like we saw with Vicki this week. She doesn't want them that far away.
Yeah.
And it's understandable, and I'm not at all surprised that she wanted to do it. And Eddie also was not surprised that she had done it. Mm-hmm. He didn't think she should have, but he wasn't
Right.
like, oh, I can't believe you would do that. I mean,
Totally.
like when you know what you're married
I know.
to,
I think we said the same thing last week. It's like Tamra is your wife, and you've got to know some crazy shenanigans are going to surface from time to time. that-
Like even the outfit from the sex party,
yeah.
just like, oh, honey, you ever gonna wear that again?
yeah, right.
All he's got to say about it.
Yeah, she's all across the board. Which that'll be really interesting to see what develops because Eddie basically made her agree that this would be only alone. And Tamra even said, I'll say that now, but it
Right.
doesn't really have to be the case, which is going to get her in even more trouble. Like, of course, Eddie is going to find all of this out, and then we have another episode of Housewives.
Don't you? Yeah, I kind of think Eddie knows too.
He's got
like he
to.
wants. It's first of all, it's too far gone. It's already done.
Yeah.
He doesn't probably hate the idea of having Ryan close either. He and Ryan have a great relationship, and it makes Tamra happy. So I think he wants to put his foot down and be like, "You shouldn't have done that, and they're gonna pay us back, and I'm not paying for another man's family," which is a great point. But at the end of the day, what you really gonna do?
Totally. And
Yeah.
I think it kind of depends on like the dynamics of the donation. Because if she's just donating the amount for the down payment, I think that's fair. Like that's very kind, I would say, to say like, you know, we want to come into this area and by donating the down payment, it helps them get into the area. That's great. And then maybe Ryan really will take on the month-to-month payments. Fine. I think that's wonderful. But if he doesn't, and then Tamra truly is floating them the whole entire time, then I 100% agree with Eddie. And that's no bueno.
Because
Right.
that's got to be a lot of money.
Completely. I mean, she'd basically be paying, you know, 2 mortgages, essentially, for her and her son to be living in Orange County. So, you know, that's totally got to be a strain on the finances. And I totally see Eddie's point.
And one thing that we haven't heard yet is we know that Ryan's quit Cut Fitness and he's been living far, far away. And we don't know what he's been doing for work or what he plans on doing for work when he returns to Orange County. He did say last week that he was not planning on returning to work at Cut Fitness either. He said that, or Eddie said he wasn't. Somewhere we got the idea that he was not. coming
Somehow
back to
he's
Cut
not
Fitness.
returning.
Now
Yeah.
remember, he went to some kind of mechanic school. At one point, this was several years ago, and Simon had gotten him a job working. He was either on motorcycles or cars. Like, he went to some high-end school where he can fix stuff. So I don't know if that's his intention of getting back into work or if he is working at all lately. I would like to know more about that. I would have
Completely.
much less of a problem with a big donation,
Right.
if he's working full time and trying hard to support the family and, you know, just can't quite make those ends meet. Then it's a lot different than if he's sitting around twiddling his thumbs, which I doubt he's doing. 'Cause he has a baby
Exactly.
now.
Yeah. I mean, I completely agree with you. And that's funny how in this whole scenario, I mean, of course we're focused on Tamra because she's the main cast member of the Housewives, but it is interesting that of all the details, we don't know anything about the financial standing. We know that Tamra is lending some money to this particular case, but we don't know anything else about it. And Eddie even mentioned that one of his concerns was that Ryan would bring his family to Orange County and not be able to maintain the cost of living. So that'll be really interesting to see how it all works out
That
in
is a
upcoming episodes.
Completely justifiable concern.
Yeah, isn't it? I know.
Yeah, I don't know if people
It's a tough
realize.
one.
I know you all are watching from all sorts of places in the world, and I used to live in the Midwest in America myself, and I can just remember, you know, going to Target and buying my mascara and it being several dollars less just because it's there and not here.
Completely. I know.
That's like a real thing.
It is a real thing. Yeah. California prices are insanely higher.
Sarah has 3 daughters, and that's a lot of mascara, people.
That is a ton of mascara. Take that into account for your budget. Yes, and another interesting thing that we ran into with Tamra and Eddie, really, it was kind of in the beginning of the episode, and it's what inspired our opening song, is that we got to see Tamra really taking on the dive into her faith. You know,
Do they want us to sing again, or do they remember the song? Are they good? They're good?
I think they're good.
Okay,
I think
okay,
they're good.
Just making sure.
We might want ourselves to sing again. I think they're good. But yes, so she, you know, has had this life epiphany. She is really jumping into the whole religion, you know, aspect, having it strong in her life. And I really did like seeing that Eddie supported her in it, and that even if it wasn't a journey that he wanted to take on personally,
Clearly.
he was there for her. Oh, there we go.
There we
I
are.
hear it.
We just need
I
it.
hear it.
We just need it.
Tamra's getting it. I love it.
Yeah, well, and you know what? What stuck out this to me, like, she really seemed broken. Sitting there on that couch, it almost seemed like she'd been crying the night before, like her face was a little swollen.
Yeah, like
and-
very torn up about this whole issue.
Eddie looked very tired. Like, maybe it was a very early morning, but, you know, I was believing that she has had an epiphany and that she wants to invite God into her life, and she wants to begin by being baptized. And also what kind of contributed to the seriousness of that to me was that she's really thinking about being a good Christian and being a good person. But then she goes for that Tamra one-liner shock factor and says to the pastor, "Oh, but I just had a sex party yesterday." And I'm like, oh, are we just there to say that to the pastor, to get the TV moment,
Yeah,
to have
to get the
storyline?
pastor's reaction.
I wanted to believe that she was there for the right reasons, and I did. And then that, I don't know what to make of it.
Totally. I know. And Tamra is a very tricky one to get, to really understand the truth of, because she has that kind of silly, joking, snarky exterior, but she's got a lot going on inside, obviously. She's having this kind of inner struggle and kind of trying to find a path that is like more satisfying to her. She's kind of feeling like she's falling short and she's not really, being her full potential. I think she even said that she wants her faith to help her become a better version of herself.
Yeah.
So that's funny. Yeah. So she mentioned she had been a part of Saddleback Church, the Saddleback Church system initially, but they have so many members that she was really looking for more of a personal touch. So
yeah. Did we talk about that last week for our listeners who maybe aren't familiar with Saddleback Church?
We may not have gone into detail.
Explain it. It's a lot. I know you'll see a lot of like Orange County and Los Angeles area celebrities and like reality stars. Again, I'm thinking of Gretchen Rossi. I know
yes.
I was talking about this on Sunday morning.
Oh,
so
yes.
it's a huge congregation, but they also broadcast online. And that's what I think has made it popular in this area, is that a lot of people would rather just turn on the computer on Sunday morning than get all dollied up and haul their butts, down the PCH to church.
Yeah.
So it is really popular with a lot of people, and it is a huge church. And I'm not surprised that she sort of keeps mentioning it. I don't know.
Right. To tap into that.
Can people get paid to promote a church? Like, is that wrong?
It's probably immoral.
What would Joan Osborne say about that?
It's probably unethical. But maybe. Who knows?
But she's found, so she went and seeked out a smaller pastor who deals with less people or something. So again, more evidence that maybe she's serious about it, but
I know. It's hard to really see the truth because, she really seems to be struggling. Obviously, she's taking it to this level of being serious about making a change in her life. Mm-hmm. But you're right. It's so funny because it seems like she wants this in her core, but it's hard for her to pull away from the Tamra that we all know, and the one that has the sex parties and, gets crazy with her, girlfriends and other housewife, cast members and everything. So it's really, truly an interesting journey that she's embarking on.
And she brings up the custody thing as well.
Yes.
Which is still raging to this day. We'll have an update for you in news and gossip. But so it just occurred to me that perhaps this is a way of saying, on paper, she got ripped really apart. There were some things that she literally wasn't taking care of her children on a day-to-day basis, things like bathing and feeding and things like that she says are still just sort of hurt her to the core, and she thinks about that these things were out there every single day. So I'm almost wondering if maybe this whole Christian rebirth is something that can go in court documents and say, mother recently found God and was baptized and is interested in creating a stable Christian home for the children that don't want to come to her house. Like, it doesn't look bad in a custody court document either.
Very true. That's a very interesting angle there, Christy. I know. And I feel like it's too soon on this particular matter to say, but I think that we will know. Like, I think certainly in episodes to come, we'll have a far better idea of how far she's really taking the whole thing.
Yeah, because if people have the gall to question cancer,
yes,
they are most certainly going to question her getting baptized.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, even Vicki did in Tahiti. Oh, yeah. She had what was it, like Religion for Dummies or Christianity for Dummies or something?
Yeah. God for Dummies.
Yeah, God for Dummies. She's like, what are you doing? What is this here? Hilarious. Well, if it is all true and good, of course, we wish Tamra the best in her journey. And a side note, sort of little interesting tidbit, was we also got to see Shannon and David's little dinner with her kids. That kind of, the whole idea of kind of like, fixing your life and mending your inner peace and everything makes me think of what Shannon and David are trying to do in their relationship. Shannon is very vocal about the fact that they are staying together, they are working out their issues, and I thought it was really lovely. It was very cute that those daughters put on the Bador restaurant.
Yeah.
And they had like a menu and everything, and it had pricing, and that was adorable.
Yeah, it was a really cute little scene.
Yes.
And I'm glad you brought it up, because when we were watching, I wanted to pause and go, okay, what do you think about this? And I thought, oh, you know what? We should probably save it for the show.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering if at this point, are you starting to feel like maybe the daughters are a little bit too involved? or like they know a little bit too much about Shannon and David's relationship and what's happened, and so that has created maybe too much concern on their part. Like they're too worried about it. Like when it gets to the point where the children are thinking about what can we do, that makes me nervous.
Yep.
And this was all very, very sweet and, you know, good intentioned, but it just kind of makes me worry a little bit. Like, do you feel like it's sort of getting to the point where they're too involved?
100%.
Yeah.
And I've sort of been saying this since the beginning, but yeah, I do. And you know, I believe that Shannon has mentioned previously that that her children found out on their own. I think it was like via text message or something like that. I feel like she
found out about
yes,
it.
Yes, and I feel like she mentioned this a few episodes ago. So you know, when your kids find out about something, there's not much you can do. They know. Right. But the thing is that it, you know, we keep kind of having these new revelations of what's going on between Shannon and David's marriage. And at this point, exposing it to the world in a way that the children will now know about all these other points it brings us exactly to your point, Christy. Yes, I do think they will end up knowing far more than they ever should have. And that, you know, and that's tough. And you know, there's really not much that can be done about it now because it's all out in the open. And, you know, the best that we can hope for is that they're able to recover from everything that's happening in a very positive way. Of course, that's the best hope. But yeah, I mean, I do think it's tough.
They
It's
just
very
seem
tough.
so concerned.
Yeah.
Those little girls do, and they're so young and
so sweet.
And so sweet, yes, and very pretty. We always have to comment
they're
when they
gorgeous
come on
kids,
camera.
yeah.
Yeah. So they should just be worrying about something else.
Completely.
Is just what I'm saying.
Yes. No, and I agree with you, but it was definitely lovely. It was a lovely gesture. Everyone got along. It was, you know, I like those moments. I like
God
those
bless
moments.
the PAs who actually made all that food and all that.
There you go. I like those moments and Vacation Shannon.
Yes.
She's still my favorite Shannon.
Vacation.
Yes. So another really a rather big storyline that we saw throughout tonight's episode was that Vicki took a little trip to Oklahoma to visit Brianna and Ryan. They have a whole life there.
This is like a reverse Beverly Hillbillies.
Right? It really is, right?
Vicki packs up her bags and she goes to Oklahoma.
That's right, getting country. Yes, and I loved their little B-roll of just like all the country in the town. It was like Main Street and like the cowboy hat store and like
trying to make it look as rural as possible.
completely,
Yeah.
completely. So she ended up spending a good amount of time there with Brianna and Ryan, and we got to see Brianna's two children, which, you know, of course, super adorable. And it was very interesting seeing Vicki's time there with her grandbabies and with Ryan and Brianna, of course. The first thing that we got thrown was their tornado scare.
Yes.
Okay, so I'm from California. We do not have tornadoes here at all.
No.
The whole thought of a tornado and having to get down into like the storm cellar or whatever is like horrifying to me. I am like not, you know, aware of any of this. You, however, are from the Midwest.
Yes.
So tell me about your tornado experience.
Tornadoes are serious business. Like when we have earthquakes here and it's all over national news that there was an earthquake in California and literally nothing is damaged and no one is injured.
Yeah.
I'm like, dude, you guys got to hear about tornadoes. Okay, tornadoes
We
mess
don't want
stuff up.
We don't want to know.
we had a very, very bad one when I was about 10 years old in Minnesota, and my grandparents' entire farm was flattened, entire towns in this state. I mean, it's wind. It's a big tunnel of wind, so it destroys everything in its path. It's serious business. So yeah, when those tornado alarms go off, and we just have them in the town, it's just like you can be standing outside and you hear a really loud, I don't know if they have those other places. People are like,
not here.
You get the concept, Christy. No, literally, like the alarms will just be going off, and you know to go get in the basement. Or my mother has this weather radio that like, man, woo, 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 at like 2 o'clock in the morning. Oh my God.
Oh my goodness.
So
a weather radio.
You know when it's time.
It's like an
tuned
alarm
in
your house?
Yeah, and it goes off if there's a tornado warning or a tornado watch. And then we got to remember which is a watch. And so you watch for a warning. So the watch isn't as bad. And then when there's a warning, that's when you go get in the basement. But why they wouldn't have basements in Oklahoma, like in Minnesota, everybody has a basement to get into for when the tornadoes come.
Yeah,
So that was like a tiny little shelter to cram into. I don't know. It must be, there must be a reason for it. Maybe because of the tornadoes, they can't have basements or something.
Yeah,
but
that was a very interesting scenario. They had like a very, very small, cramped, like like emergency cellar, or I'm not even sure what. But the plan is that when you get the tornado warning, you head to somewhere downtown, or I believe is what Ryan said. So that was very interesting. There must be some sort of massive town shelter in the little town that they live in. Maybe the town they live in is not very big or something, and there's some sort of community. I don't know. Reach out to us. Tell us if you know anything about this.
Homans.
We're very curious. We want to know. And of course, Vicki's reaction to that was hilarious. She was like, I don't know which is worse, being down in the little cramped cellar or being actually in the tornado, because either way I'm going to die.
Well, Vicki, we know you've been a Cali girl for a long time,
Right.
but let's not forget that she is from the Midwest.
That's
so
right, your roots,
She knows tornadoes
Miss
are
Vicki.
serious business. Yeah.
Oh, yes. Which is worse, claustrophobia or getting sucked into a tornado? Who knows?
Like Twister style.
Exactly.
The cows fly, the whole thing's real
Oh.
stuff, people, I'm telling you.
Christy, that is horrifying.
telling
Oh, good Lord. Woo. Back here in California, where that doesn't happen. No, so we also saw that Vicki really bestowed a very kind gesture onto Brianna. She bought Brianna a brand new SUV, and she mentioned this an episode or two ago, where that she really wanted to help to make her daughter's life easier. And her daughter, has these 2 young children, and no doubt she's running around from place to place, I'm sure. So Vicki really thought it would be great to help her out by buying a new car. So Vicki she presents this gift to Brianna.
Vicki gesture.
Exactly. And she has a whole little pre-written letter that she had Brianna read, and she gave her the choice between 3 vehicles, and she said, it's already done for, everything's paid and good. You just have to choose which one you want. And of course she, took Brianna outside, and Brianna chose, and no sooner than she chose the car that her mother bought her for her birthday, did they have a complete blowout on the back patio, right? So, it was a very lovely gesture that Vicki did, but then, of course, they were trying to speak all lovely and nice out on the back patio, and Vicki was saying, you're going to be coming to visit me in a week and a half, and you'll stay at my place. And Brianna was having no part of that.
No. She did not want to have one of these face-to-face fake conversations for the cameras. Mom is about to leave. They're trying not to get into it. This is more mother-daughter time than they've had for a while. We can all relate to this situation. Vicki just goes there. Or she thinks Brianna's going there, so she takes it there with an F-bomb.
Completely.
It was hilarious.
She just jumped right to it. Yes.
That was funny. I had to re-roll that one back a couple times just because, remember, she literally went from fake smile to, oh, you want to F and do this on camera?
Yeah,
All right.
I mean, we were both completely caught off guard when we watched it. Like, what? What just happened? Yeah, Vicki was really concerned. She was trying to stop it in its tracks.
Yes.
She was not having any part of that.
And with everything that she has always been so open, and we saw so much with her and getting that phone call of her mother's death a few episodes ago, and she was so open about that and didn't place any restrictions on Bravo for how they showed it. We know that it was so odd to hear her say we're not doing this on camera, because she never implied that.
Oh, that's totally true. Yeah.
And Brianna too. They've both gotten so comfortable. It's been over 10 years that was what kind of freaked me out the most. I was like, whoa, they must be anticipating that it gets really serious if
something
she doesn't
big
want to
is
do it
about
on
to
camera.
happen. Yeah. Well, and very interesting that Vicki was the one who said, off camera, we're going to talk about this. And Brianna said, no, I'm not doing that. And she stayed put on the patio for a little bit. But she was really trying to make that be known. Because she's not.
It was such a window to Vicki's intentions. And this is why we say we love seeing Brianna on the show, because she's a voice of reason. She tells it like it is. She tells us what's really going on. So she says, you just you want to let me look bad and have Brooks not look bad.
Absolutely.
And she was so right.
She was. Yeah. She was. And just this whole Brooks-Vicki relationship and Vicki and extended family relationship is just getting so much more convoluted as the episodes come along. It's like Vicki is really having issues with her fellow housewife cast members and also with her own family. And we're seeing now how truly affected Brianna is. She even mentioned in her little, solo interview moments that she is not having any part of a relationship with Brooks, and she doesn't even want him around her children. Not only is she not going to be around him, but she doesn't want him around her children. So it's just very serious. And of course, they left us with a bit of a cliffhanger, and I'm sure we're going to have to wait till next week to get a little bit of closure on this blow up. But I mean, it was certainly a major roadblock for Vicki and Brianna and what's going to happen when she comes to visit in a week.
And was just such an indicator that they have not moved forward with this issue at all. Brianna hasn't even seen him in 2 years. No. And even for us, for the viewers, I think it's difficult to remember why Brianna had such an issue with him. If you go back and you remember, and I think we kind of rehashed it last week, but like when you remember, then you know why.
Oh, yeah.
You agree with her having an issue, but now it's sort of like, oh yeah, what was her problem again? What was the deal?
Like enough time has passed, let's figure something out,
now
right?
He's moved in and he's got cancer, like, what's the big deal? Well, she's still justified in this being a big deal. And the factor here is that she thinks that Brooks is a violent person.
Yeah.
She literally questions the kind of person that he is. He's admitted to hanging out with prostitutes and things like that. She's just thinking, I don't want to be in a home where somebody like that, I don't want my kids in a house where that is. Who knows what he's got stashed under the bed or whatever it is.
Fair enough.
Is what Brianna is.
And fair enough. When you have kids,
sure.
Completely. And when you have kids, it's a whole different scenario. It's like you yourself can deal with so much, but when you're bringing small children into this scenario, I get it. I get Brianna's feeling. Speaking of things that may or may not be a big deal, Christy, hit us with a little news and gossip.
AfterBuzz TV News.
Let's have it.
Since we're on Vicki and Brooks anyway, this is kind of an update. Last week I shared with you all Heather's gross net worth.
Oh, yes.
I don't know why, if someone went in investigation or what, but it's all over the internet all of a sudden. And we now know that Vicki's net worth has been released, and she's worth $7 million.
Okay.
Not at all surprising with her insurance, and we know she makes about $500,000 a season for Real Housewives. On the other side of that, Brooks's net worth is listed at $150,000.
Not surprising at all.
Not surprising, and a
higher than I thought.
a mere fraction of Vicki's.
Truly.
So just a fun little tidbit. Now we'll get into some actual news. A little bit of fallout from last week. Meghan and Heather got into it hardcore, or I'm sorry, Meghan and Vicki got into it hardcore.
Oh, yes.
And we know that Haley,
at the party.
yes. So Meghan's teenage stepdaughter, Haley, who has been a topic of conversation between Meghan and Vicki very much, she straight tweeted and said to Vicki, "You're a dumb bee."
Oh,
she actually said the word, and she didn't even tweet at her. She said it and then tagged her so that everybody would see it.
Yes.
So Haley trying to stand up for Meghan, and you know what? She's a teenager and she's going through a lot right now.
Yeah.
And Vicki has said a lot of stuff about her.
Yeah.
And I'm not surprised. I would have preferred that she come back with a better worded, maybe something a little sassier. Than just name calling. But you know what?
Hail to the knob!
Yeah.
Hail to the no.
But you know what? We don't blame her. So you go, Haley. You go, Haley. And Tamra, son Ryan, and Sarah have moved to Orange County, and Tamra shared a picture on her Instagram a couple days ago of Sarah's 3 daughters. Now, they have Ava as well. They have 4 total. But Sarah's 3 daughters from previous relationships started school in Orange County this week.
Adorable.
So that's really fun. Yeah, and Tamra said, she's looking forward to the girls making new friends, and it'll be an exciting time for them.
Good.
I'm sure.
Well, they're jumping into their OC lifestyle. How about that?
That's right. And speaking of the children of the OC, you all may remember little Kara Keogh.
Yes.
Who is now Kara Bosworth.
Ooh, congrats, Kara.
Right. Well, about a year and a half ago, she got married. This is an NFL player, and they just announced recently that they are expecting a baby.
Yay!
Yes. Baby Bosworth will be entering the world in early February.
Hashtag Baby Bosworth.
That's right. Just in time for Mom and Dad's 2-year anniversary.
Lovely.
So congratulations to them. And one more little tidbit. Oh, David Bedore. He wasn't hacked because he doesn't have any social media, but someone started a fake Twitter for David Bedore within the last week and was tweeting about the affair and all kinds of things. So if you saw some tweets from David Bedore this week, those were absolutely fake tweets. He has no social media, in fact, and just make sure you go and unfollow that account because Shannon and David were both very, very upset about it.
Yes, good to note. Yes, very important. Ooh, no one likes a hacker.
That's right.
Or a faker.
So Haley's tweeting, David's not tweeting.
It's
Tamara's
all
girls are going to school. It's all good.
It's all kinds of news. All kinds of news. Well, thank you, Christy. We all love being up to date on our Housewives, what we need to know. Everyone, thank you so much for tuning in this week. This was a fantastic episode. We are excited for next week. I have been your host, Blake V. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Blake V Media.
That's right. And you guys can all keep up with me at Christy Reports and at ChristyReports.com. I know Grant, who's in Florida on vacay, tweet him and tell him happy vacay. He will be back next week, as will Allison. We'll have our full panel. But this was fun.
So much fun.
Yeah.
We worked it out, girl.
That's right. Blondes up Orange County.
That's right. That's right. Now tune in next week. We will see you guys next week.
Bye-bye.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.